I pulled my top down, covering my belly, suddenly ashamed for all the noise, all the fuss. Another outburst, but never like this, never in public, until now. He was a demon possessed, unreasonable in his anger, fire in his eyes, a scowl carved into his face. And just like that, he became the bad guy. UnCanadian by B. Constant. Collapse. Part 2. I should have seen it coming. The signs were all there. The restless shifting, the sharp sighs, the impatient tapping of his fingers against his knee, then the inhale. The deep, dramatic breath that meant he was about to unleash hell. "You fat, lazy slob! You're useless!" James barked, his voice cutting through the quiet hum of the ultrasound room. I felt my body go rigid. His words felt like a slap. He was doing the unthinkable, here in a baby ward. The tech blinked, her face frozen in some unreadable expression. The tech's hand twitched at her side. Had she pressed a button? Was security on their way? I hoped they weren't. That would only make things worse. "Hurry up, get on with it. You're wasting my fucking time." James let out a snort, loud and derisive, like some enraged bull about to charge. He was past the point of no return now. This is what I wasted my afternoon for? This is a joke." He flung an arm toward the screen, scoffing at the image. His voice rose, shaking with anger. "What's the fucking big deal? Every newborn looks like that," he sneered. "They all look the same. It's a baby. We get it." I should do something before he got worse. But my throat had closed up, my body locking into place, muscles frozen in the familiar grip of panic. This was my fault. I should have kept him distracted, should have read the cues, should have done something to prevent this. I squeezed my hands together, willing them to stay steady. I could feel the tech's unease beside me. "Sir, if you'd calm down, I'll explain how this is important," the tech said, her voice tight, shaking just enough that I could hear it. I didn't blame her. I stared at the monitor, forcing my eyes to stay there, on the tiny, grainy image of our baby, our daughter Emily. The reason we were here. She was trying, though, holding her ground, keeping her voice steady, even as James seethed beside me. "I thought I explained this," she continued carefully. "This is a non-invasive procedure using sonic waves to take images of your baby's progress. This is a very important step. If there are issues, we have an opportunity to take measures for the welfare of your baby." She was being so reasonable, so calm, as if that would make a difference, as if James wasn't already too far gone. No, I thought, this young woman was doing it wrong. When James gets like this, first step is to not defend but admit blame. It stops the next oncoming assault. It disarms him. James stood up. That angered him further. "Yes, you stupid girl. If you actually listened to what I said, you'd realize you're proving my point. I didn't need to be here for this. I could be at home, not wasting my fucking time. I'm an important person. I could make one call and have you replaced by tomorrow." I should intervene, I thought. Throw the girl some kind of cover while she recovered from my husband's charm. But what could I say? My whole mind seemed to shut down, locking me in some kind of suspension mode. This was my fault. I lost focus, let my guard down, forgot about James. A wife should know better, should read her husband, anticipate his moods before they turn to storms. I didn't. And this is what happens when I slip, when I forget my place, this mess, this disaster. I made it. I have to live with the consequences, no matter how much they hurt, because there's only one person to blame, me. "You don't get it," I whispered, almost to myself. "If you heard him play, if you really listened, you'd understand. He's not just some angry man, he's more than that. He has to be." The girl shot me a look, her expression caught somewhere between disbelief and pity, like she was trying to decide if I was serious or just too far gone to argue with. "Right," she nodded. I swallowed. "I mean it. He's not just talented, he's a savant. They say Beethoven was difficult too, you know. It's part of being brilliant." She blinks. Once, twice. Her face stays unreadable, trapped somewhere between professional neutrality and personal disbelief. Then, without a word, she looks away, choosing the ultrasound screen over me, over him, over whatever this is. "He's going to be the next Beethoven," I said, my voice thin, desperate, as if that explained anything, as if that made this okay. I insisted he come. I interrupted his practice. His music, the one thing that truly mattered to him. Of course he was upset. Of course this was my fault. But then I saw her face. The hospital tech, frozen, eyes wide, terror plain as day. No nod, no quiet understanding, just silence, thick and uncomfortable. I search her face anyway, my breath catching, hoping to see something. A flicker of recognition, some proof that she gets it, that she can see James as more than just an angry, sulking man, but the tech's expression remains unreadable. And just like that, the words in my mouth turn to ash. What was I even saying? What did any of it matter? Shame curled hot in my gut, pressing against the absurdity of it all, against the unbearable weight of this. This wasn't about music, this wasn't about me. This was about him. James shot to his feet, his full height looming over her. He doubled her size, and as he rose, she seemed to shrink. Enough! You could have come here alone and babbled to some nurse about baby clothes or whatever pointless thing you talk about. Let's go. He strode toward me, hands gesturing impatiently. Move, I said. Hurry up, I'm not staying here a second longer. You thought I wouldn't make a scene? You people act like this is some goddamn miracle, like this is some sacred event. It's not. It's biology, basic animal biology. Now let's go. It's a baby. It's not that fucking special. I have a God-given talent. I wasted an afternoon on this bullshit. The young woman raised her hands in front of her chest, half in surrender, half in silent plea. On instinct, she shifted into a protective stance, bracing herself in case James escalated from verbal assault to something worse. James turned his glare on her. Look at you. You press a few buttons and suddenly you think you're a doctor. That's cute. There you are telling me how to spend my time. He scoffed, his lip curling. Pathetic. I heard the tech let out a sound. At first I thought it was a whispered gasp, but no, it wasn't. It was a scream, a small, terrified scream. It only sounded quiet to me because my own heart was pounding so violently, drowning everything else out. But this was normal for me. Just another one of his tantrums. When we got home, he'd need his special favorite ice cream. He'd need to be told what a great man he was. That was my cue. Time to go into pamper mode. I swallowed hard. The silence between us stretched thin, taut like a wire about to snap. For the first time I saw him as she did, not as a misunderstood artist, not as a man who just needed a little more patience, but as a threat, a problem to be handled, a man she might need to call security on, and if that's how they saw him, then what about me? And for the first time I could feel the truth of it, raw, undeniable, staring me down in the silence. And that's when it hits me. It doesn't hit all at once. No earth-shattering moment, no sudden bolt of clarity. It seeps in slow, curling around my ribs, settling deep in my stomach like a quiet, sinking weight. This is how the world sees James. And if that's how they see him, then what about me? A woman clinging to a failed fantasy, that's what they see, isn't it? The tech won't remember James. Not really. He's just another angry man in a long, exhausting day. She'll forget his face, his voice, but me? She'll remember me. The woman who sat there silent, the woman who made excuses, the woman who stayed. My stomach twists. It's unbearable, the weight of it. I have to... No. But what if I'm wrong? I know him. I know his moods, his frustrations, his temper. I know the way stress eats at him, how deeply he feels things, how lost he gets in his own mind. He's not just this moment. He's not just this outburst. The tech saw a man throwing a tantrum, but I've seen so much more. The softness, the brilliance, the way his fingers move over the piano keys like he was born for them. She doesn't know him, not like I do. I exhale, forcing the thought away, willing myself to hold steady. I won't be like that. I won't be like those women, the ones who just give up. Strength isn't walking away when things get hard. Strength is standing firm when everyone else turns their back. I know what you're thinking. Run. Why are you doing this to yourself? Why can't you see what he's doing? But I've made my decision. I will stand by my man. Strength isn't leaving when things get hard. It's holding on when everyone else lets go. People walk away too easily. I refuse to be that kind of person. This is far from over. I'll show you what real strength looks like. Stay with me.